Hey folks, Allison here. I want to say something today because there are a lot of people who are struggling with emotional problems, mental health problems. It's really, and we're living in a very tough world right now. And a lot of people are in therapy, or maybe they need to be, or maybe they're, looking things up on the internet. I want to say this. You are not your diagnosis, and neither are your friends and family members. Neither are other people. There is a tendency I've found lately, and especially, turn on CNN, this one's a narcissist, this one's this, and they say it with authority as if they know. And it's very hard to make diagnoses without really getting to know somebody. But even when we do, there's a reason that we make a diagnosis, right? That for lack of a better system, we have the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, and it gives us criteria to figure out, is this person, do they have clinical depression? Do they fit the bill for an anxiety disorder? So that we know how to treat them. But there's a lot of latitude and there's a lot of kind of finesse in making those diagnoses. And just because somebody has a diagnosis when they start therapy doesn't mean that's who they are or always will be. So for instance, if you go to the doctor, you have blood work and you find out you're anemic, all right, that's a little more cut and dry, right? Because it's either you have this much iron in your blood or you don't. But there can be multiple diagnoses or reasons that somebody may behave in a certain way or have certain emotional feelings or thoughts. So it's not quite as an exact science, but you wouldn't say that, gee, because I was anemic last year, that's who I am. I'm always anemic. People can change. People do change. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be in this world, right? I wouldn't be a therapist. Now, people only change if they really want to and if they make changes. But I think it's very dangerous when we're constantly diagnosing people or labeling people, and particularly when it comes to children. I'd really caution you against doing that, to recognize that, all right, we may have, or the child or a family member or yourself, you may have certain features of certain disorders according to the DSM. There can be multiple reasons for it. And we really want to be careful not to label somebody and let that label stick on them. All right, even personality disorder, those can be healed. All right, we wouldn't treat somebody with a post-traumatic stress disorder the same way we would treat somebody with postpartum depression. They may have some similar features and similar overlap in the way they're presenting. So I think it's really important. But that's one of my pet peeves today, is that people go on TV or they go on social media and they make these armchair diagnoses of, famous people or whatever. And then they do the same thing with family members. And it can be very, very limiting. It can be it's almost like we're kind of dismissing somebody. Well, he's OCD, or, she's borderline, or whatever it is. These things can be healed. And we need to really not live those labels, to understand that they're helpful in terms of clinicians figuring out how to work with somebody, treatments that may be helpful for them, but it's not a death sentence. It's not a long-term, lifelong diagnosis. So be careful about that, and be careful particularly with yourself, all right? If you say, well, gee, I'm bipolar, doesn't mean you'll always be. There are ways of working with that, controlling that. Right? We have to accept sometimes that there are things that we do need to maybe make special arrangements for, whether it's diet, sometimes medications, whatever it is, but it doesn't define you. All right? There are people who have had psychological problems that have been very successful, that have overcome them, and have maybe made great contributions in the world. So don't leave it there. You are not your diagnosis, and neither are other people. All right, we have a God who heals, and we always have hope. So I hope you find that helpful. Please share that with people that you know who might need to hear that message. God bless you.